Zel Boy Army, welcome to another video on the channel. This one is one of the most highly requested I've had since the new game came out. Here's a video to help you boys with defending. I've played nearly 50 games now. I've struggled a bit with the defending at times, but I've definitely over the game started to learn a bit better how to defend on the game. It is quite different to FIFA 20 in particular, just because the attacking AI are so much better than they used to be. Like, they just make so much better runs, which gives you a lot more to deal with. And the attacking cams, like in the 4-2-3-1, when you put them on comeback on defense, just don't help as much. And then I feel like the pressing's a bit worse. But this video, yep, it's 5 top defending tips, things that I've learned that I think if you can start to apply them to your game will help you out a lot. If you like this type of content, please literally like it. It helps the videos do better. Comment, let me know what you think. And subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Every day, 6 PM, daily content helping you guys get better at the game. The first tip is going to start with your team. So obviously I have a pretty crazy team. And you're going to be saying, well, Zell, that helps you defending. And yes, it does. But when I've done draft, I've still got a very good record in draft when it's obviously more even teams. And I've learned a bit more about the meta. There's going to be a video coming out in an hour from when this video goes live, so a video at 7 o'clock that talks more specifically about the meta and what you should be looking for in the game. But when it comes to defending, one of the important things in your team is to have pace. Sergio Ramos is a higher level than Varane, but will not be as good as him because he just doesn't have enough pace. I've scored goals, conceded goals, especially in draft where you just get screwed over. Sometimes you get stuck with slow centre-backs, where my centre-backs just work quick enough. At full-back, there's so many good options that you should have minimum high 80s to low 90s pace at full-back to deal with quick wingers. Then at centre-back, I think you want to be looking at minimum 75 pace. Some of the best centre-backs in the game, like in the Prem, you've got Joe Gomez. Van Dijk probably is the best centre-back in the game, even including icons. I haven't tried like Maldini out, but Van Dijk at the very least will be up there. In Bundesliga, Klosterman looks insane. You've got Varane, Lenglet, Diego Carlos, Militao in La Liga. Manolas is very good in the Bundesliga. So there is some very good options, but make sure you get pace at centre-back. I can't talk about that enough, man. Pace is so big this year that if you don't have the centre-backs to deal with it, you will concede goals where genuinely there's nothing you can do about it. In draft, I've conceded goals where I've marked the run and my centre-back was just too slow, like 60 pace. It didn't matter what I did. And then from there, you want to be putting shadows on your centre-backs. Shadow gives 10 pace and defending boost. At this point, there's no defenders that have so much defending, they don't need the defending, and the 10 pace is invaluable. That'll give Varane 89 acceleration, 95 sprint speed. So make sure you are getting shadow on your centre-backs. And then at full-back, you either want anchor or shadow, depending on how quick they are already. But yeah, chem styles are a big one for improving your centre-backs. But honestly, in the Prem, I would rather go for one of the centre-backs who has high 70s pace than like a Laporte. It's a shame. It makes some of the centre-backs not as viable or usable as they should be. But if you don't stick with more pace at centre-back, you are going to get absolutely slaughtered by pace. Get pace at centre-back. Put the chem styles on to get more pace. That is tip number 1. Okay, for the second tip, boys, this is going to be one that was pretty important on last FIFA, but somewhat for different reasons. It is controlling your midfield. I've found even more so than last FIFA, if you do not control your midfield, then they will not really do a lot defensively. I much prefer the balance between attack and defense on FIFA 21 compared to FIFA 20. On FIFA 20, it was such a negative defensive game, and it just wasn't fun to play a lot of times. Obviously, it's still early days of FIFA 21, so it's too early to fully judge the game. We don't know which direction it's going to go in yet, but from what I'm seeing, I do like the game right now. I'm not 100% convinced long-term about the game. I think there's still a few issues, but the defending and attacking, like, I think it's better balanced. I like how much easier it is to score goals and how much harder it is to defend. But a tip that will definitely help you is controlling your midfield. If you control your midfield and get them in shape, One thing it does is stops you pulling defenders out. I found a lot of people are really struggling on this game because I'm scoring so many goals because they pull their defenders out. And when they pull their defenders out, it just gives me easy goals. Like, the last thing you want to do is pull your defenders out, because the AI now make better runs, and it just makes it so much easier to get in. Through balls are OP, it seems, on this game. They're very accurate, and the AI make good runs. So if you're not careful and you pull defenders out, you're going to be giving up easy through balls. So by controlling your midfield, you stop yourself doing that with defenders. And then the second benefit is you just keep more team shape. Like, if you look here, there's not a lot of space for him to attack. He could try go there and go there, but then I could switch and cover that. He can go here or here, but that's fine. I want him to go backwards. See, I'm just making it hard. I did move a defender there to try kind of cover that bit. And then you do switch to the defenders if it gets round the box. I'm not saying never touch your defenders. It's still important more than ever, really, to switch at the right time. But getting control of your midfield. You see here, my midfield are in shape. They're in this section of the pitch where I want them to be defending. Makes a big difference. And then I get the ball back from it. A lot of people, I find, are just panicking. They switch straight away to the defenders, let their midfield get bypassed. Control your midfield, use them to get some structure, make sure they get in shape. And then if your midfield does get broken down, gets past, switch your defenders. But controlling your midfield and getting them in shape is a good start to giving yourself some more solidarity in defence. Okay, in this clip here, by the way, all the clips are from my Twitch streams, so you can see like my follow alerts on Twitch. If you've never actually checked out one of my Twitch streams, please do. Every single day streaming on there, packs, drafts, playing rivals, looking at icons, offering gameplay tips. You can ask me questions live, get to see how I actually play the game all the time. It'd be great to see you boys there, so make sure you drop it a follow, link in the description below. This clip here though, I do some pretty awful defending at one point. It's coming up. So there, that's fine, covering the run. This is it here. Now look at this. Here, I should just be holding jockey and standing my ground. But watch what I do. I dive in. Now diving in is awful. Like, so tip 3 is don't dive in. But there's another part to this one, and we get there in a sec. Look here. This is nice trick by him there. He gets past me, but look at that. I make the block. I don't panic. So tip 3 is don't dive in. If you dive in, you get punished more than ever on this game. It's a general FIFA tip for the last few years. In particular, just don't dive in. But on last FIFA, if you dove in, your defensive AI would generally recover for you and help out. Whereas on this game, if you dive in and get beat, it is very easy to concede goals because you just open up so much space that the attacking AI exploit a lot better this year. So yeah, don't dive in like that. I should have just stood my ground. But then, even when he got into this position, I didn't panic. I didn't dive in again. I recovered. A lot of people at this point would see Mane here, panic, and then not switch. I switched, stepped in with Varane, made the block. So I did dive in initially, poor defending, but I recovered by keeping my head, not panicking, not giving him an easy goal. So many people on this game, I can just see it when I'm attacking against them. They give up 3 goals because they just get scared almost. They don't know what to do, and they give me an easy goal, and then they just get more frustrated. Don't dive in, don't panic. Tip number 3. Okay, tip number 4 is a combination of player switching and knowing when to step in or when to sit off. On last FIFA, it was nearly always the right decision to just step off, hold jockey, and stand your ground. On this FIFA, where the dribbling, I've not played many people who felt amazing at using the dribbling, but I've played a couple of people who are really good with it. Skill moves are a bit better as well now that the chained error is not as bad on them. It feels like you need to step in and make tackles more this game, because on last FIFA you could be very passive because the AI wouldn't make very good runs against you. You could get every man behind the ball, and as long as you didn't dive in, you was generally alright. Whereas in this game, if you're passive and sit back a bit too much, then one of the big issues you may find is that it just means they get more time on the ball, the AI makes a good run, and you concede. So knowing when to stand off and not dive in, and when to step in is important. And an aspect of that makes a big difference is player switching. The 2 types of player switching are L1, whereas if I was to press L1 on this here, it would switch to this man. L1 means you switch to the man nearest the ball, and the man nearest the ball will always have this second indicator on. If you've not already checked out my settings video, make sure you go check it out. That one there talks about the different settings you should have on. That one there is in the settings. It's the next defender indicator, I think it's called. And then the other switch is right stick. If I was to move my right stick down and left, it would go there. If I was to move it down and right, it would go there. Right, it would go there. Right stick switching is not something I do around the box too much unless I'm very confident about it, because as you can see, there's so many players here that it'd be quite easy to pick the wrong one. It's more what I use in the midfield to like cut passing lanes and quickly switch to people. Around the box, L1's a lot easier, but if you can get good at switching, that'll massively improve your defending. And then also when it comes to not diving in, stepping at the right time, holding jockey is still really good this year. That's L2 or LT. Holding jockey means it just slows you down, means you don't dive in, don't get beat very easily. Here, I reckon I should have switched a little bit, not switched, moved a bit closer to him with Varane. I gave him a bit too much space. I recovered there. That was a really nice pass by him, and there he gets in a really good position. A lot of people here stand off and make it too easy for the attacker. Here, I know it's dangerous. I know if I don't step in at this point, then it's going to be an easy goal for him. So I step in. It is a little bit risky, that tackle. I didn't expect him to turn away from goal. But you need to make these tackles on the game this year. If you don't make the tackles, you just end up putting yourself in a really bad situation. So it ended up being really good defending. One of the things that I've not really experimented with much yet is the super. I think they call it the super hard tackle. It's R1 and B on, or RB and B on Xbox, or R1 and circle on PlayStation. Basically, it does a tackle instantly, and it's a charged up one. It's only useful at certain times, and it has a bit of a different animation, so you want to practice and get used to it. It might make you a bit worse at first, but long term I think it does have a lot of potential and could be really good. And in the next week I'm probably going to do a video about 5 features you might not know about in FIFA 21 that they've added this year, and I'll talk about more in there once I've had a chance to really get used to it. Tip 4, get better at switching and then know when to step in, when to dive in, and when to stand your ground. Okay, this is definitely one of the most important on FIFA 21. Tip 5 is defending counter-attacks. Pace is so good this year, like the fast players do feel actually fast on this game. I think there's a chance they might slightly nerf pace because it is so strong. I don't want them to. I think pace is good. It should be important. You should be able to break people down with it, but it is so powerful right now. It is a nightmare playing draft against pace because, like, if you get stuck with a slow defence, if the person you played is any good and they have like a Mane and Mbappe, you just can't defend them. I won a draft final once where I scored like 3 goals where you just had Johnny Evans at the back and you just couldn't deal with Mbappe. Defending counter-attacks though is important. A lot of people here will try to press the ball. It is too risky, in my opinion, to press the ball, because if you don't press it and don't get it properly, then they just get an easy count. So watch what I do here. You can see there, he gets it here with Griezmann. I think that's Mane. Mane is going to make that run straight away because the air just seemed to do that. I instantly switched to mark that. A lot of people would switch to him and try to press that, but I know that if I don't switch to him, he'll be flat-footed. Mane will get the run. He'll probably get it on goal. So I cover that straight away. I then press now because there's no runs in behind that I have to worry about. This bit here, I probably should have gone at that angle rather than that angle. I kind of put Varane in bad position. But there, rather than panic and start diving in, I go backwards with Mendy, cover the space, and now he doesn't really have anything in behind. A lot of people at this point would have conceded an easy goal or given away a good chance by just diving in and not marking the runs in behind. And there, he ends up just going backwards, and that's exactly where I want him to be. So many people don't defend counter-attacks properly, and it's probably the easiest way to score on this game. I think that is going to be a big part of the meta this year, pace and counter-attacks. People are probably going to drop a bit deeper to try to deal with the pace, but you can deal with it a lot better by switching to your players and covering the space in behind. Okay, here just another clip for tip 5 about defending counter-attacks. Here, I see that this is a really good chance for a through ball. Naby Keita's right-footed and doesn't have insane passing, it's pretty good, and he still makes an absolutely beautiful through ball. But you can see there, I switched to Varane and covered it. Let's watch it one more time. I see the danger, so I switch to Varane with the right stick and I cover it. Step in, it's sorted. If that's someone quicker than Griezmann, like a 90 pace player, I still would have got there. But it's one of those, if I didn't switch and it was like a 90 pace player, he's in on goal. Varane's obviously one of the best at dealing with these type of things. It's easier when you've got him, but you can do that with any centre back. Switch, cover the through ball in behind, make it a lot harder to break you down. There's so much to think about when it comes to defending on this FIFA that I think that there might be a part 2 to this video. If you guys have stuck around to the end and you found this helpful, think this is going to help change your game, help you get better at defending, and you want a part 2, please let me know. Smash that like button, comment, let me know what you think of the video. And I'm going to throw a bonus tip in for you at the end. If you are really struggling with defending, go to your custom tactic. This is my current one. Make sure you check the video out if you haven't. And lower the depth. I don't want people to be playing super negative. That's never what I'll encourage on FIFA. But at the moment, if you're really struggling, just lower the depth a bit. I would like to up the depth and press more, but it just doesn't seem very good at the moment. I think pressing needs to get a bit better. But yeah, lowering your depth. I've got a very good team, and I feel like I'm pretty good at defending, so I can have 4 depth. I've been using 2 depth in some drafts and still struggling with pacing behind when I've got slow defenders. So if you're struggling with the pace, lower your depth a bit. That is a quick thing that can help straight away. Boys, hope this video has been helpful. I appreciate all the support on the channel lately. You guys are amazing. Make sure you drop into one of our Twitch streams. Keep it spicy. Have a great evening.